I'm Gloria Strode, and welcome to Straightforward. Today we are visiting with one of our trailblazers, our Chief Deputy Coroner, Elizabeth Allison. And she said I didn't have to call her Mrs. Allison. That's her mother-in-law. Elizabeth, you are just amazing. Your look for me, this is how we prejudge things. Your look for me was too glamorous for your job title. No, when I was like, oh, well, she looks like she could be one of the housewives of the DC area, which is where you're from. That's on TV, so people watch all the housewives of the Potomac and all of that. And so it's like the glamour, even here in your office, it's for the nature of the work, is really glamorous. And the first time when we came down and I sat with Buddy, who is simply amazing, I so love him so much, just a real good person. And you're blessed to be working for him.
Oh, I am.
I mean, he is truly real and for the people. And he allowed me to snoop in your office, and I was like, who is she? I mean, it's just, in spite of what the work is, it's this feminine, glamorous touch. So I wanted to sit with you to find out, how did we get someone as brilliant and beautiful as you who was willing to take this thankless role, because you all work all the time. But you're not from Columbus.
No.
Okay, and so where are you from? Share with the audience, where are you from?
I'm originally from Alexandria, Virginia, which is about 25 minutes outside of Washington, D.C. area.
Okay.
Vanderloop.
And so growing up, you were already exposed to this type of business.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so who was that and how did all that work?
My uncle was a mortician, and he had a funeral home, and his father was the coroner of the county in Maryland. So I was exposed to it.
Close family members, as a little girl, just being around, and so this wasn't something that was frightening for you.
No, ma'am.
All right. And so you took a different route to get here, though.
I did.
All right, so you have a healthcare background.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so how did you go from that to to this?
I worked, when I got out of high school, I had a legal background.
Mm-hmm.
I became a paralegal, and I worked for a guy that I went to high school with. I worked for his dad at a legal company. And then we moved down here because my mother was married to a gentleman in the military.
Okay, so you came through the military.
Yes.
Okay, all right, so now I get it, because Columbus is really not a destination place unless you're in the military, and especially back then.
Mm-hmm.
You had to have a purpose for coming here.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so we came down here, and my stepdad, finished his tour of duty here, and he retired. And so I stayed to help take care of my mom. She came down with rheumatoid arthritis, and she needed a caregiver. And I did work. At the time, it's when the war was breaking out in Saudi Arabia, so it was hard to get a job down here. So I had to make ends meet. I had to, work at fast food places. So
really?
Yeah.
So you started in Columbus in fast food?
Yes.
And now you are the chief deputy coroner?
Yes.
Wow.
Because no job is a disgrace.
It's an honest living.
Yes.
And see, we have to keep teaching that to young people, because now we have this generation that thinks because they get a degree, that means they can just run the college. They could be the president of the college, or, if they want to run for office, they think they have to run for the highest office. But your story sounds very similar to mine. I worked for $1.30 an hour at Burger King on Macon Road. Yeah. But you're saying you worked fast food before you got a professional job.
Yes.
Okay. All right. And so how do we move from the food industry into the
I got a job back then. I left that, and then I got a job at Rhodes Furniture on Macon Road. Do you remember Rhodes Furniture?
Yes, I bought furniture from there.
Yes, and
I started near Kmart.
Yes, and I started back there in customer service. And it was a girl that I went to high school with in Virginia. She was down here, and so she got me a job. And so we worked together, and then I went in and became customer service manager.
Okay.
So
building those skills.
Yeah.
Making it toward this destination.
Yes.
Okay.
Because customer service, people don't, get enough appreciation for what they do with customer service.
Yeah. Oh, it's a hard job.
It is a very hard job. And then I went to work at Aflac for a little bit.
Okay.
Yeah. And then my mom got put in a hospital. She came down with rheumatoid arthritis, and rheumatoid arthritis will take over your internal organs.
It's debilitating.
Yeah, and it was very. And at that time, I had applied for nursing school. And I didn't know if I would get in. I just had a lot of stuff going on with my mom because I was pretty much her caregiver at the time.
Big responsibility.
Yeah, it was a very big responsibility. And I became very close with the director of the ICU at the time. She was a great friend. Everybody.
The medical center or St. Francis?
St. Francis.
St. Francis.
Yes.
Okay.
They were like family to me because I didn't have family at the time. My stepfather and I had a broken relationship, and they were my family. And when my mother passed, she actually helped me get a job at St. Francis, the ICU director.
Really?
She did.
So she took you under her wing.
She did.
Yeah. See, and that's what I just had a visit with someone else when we talk about the village, the people in the village that God puts on the path to help you to the next destination. Right. So she embraced you.
She did.
Right. And so you went on to...
I went on and I started in the emergency room as registration.
Really?
I would register patients that would come in.
Right.
You know,
that's front line.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah, that's the toughest job.
Yeah,
that's the toughest job. It is.
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then I went up to multi-care tech, and then I went up to EMT. And then we all had to learn how to do secretary work back then.
Right.
Back then, everything was manual.
Exactly. It wasn't a computer. You had to have some real organization skills and creative thinking.
Yes.
Right. Because if you were the front line checking in,
yes,
you dealt with all kinds of things. Hysterical people,
yeah.
people who didn't have correct information. So all of that was preparing you for this journey. Yeah. Okay. And so you worked there. You became an EMT.
I did the opposite.
Okay.
Like I worked in the ER for years, and then I went back after I got married. I actually met my husband in the ER.
Did you?
I did.
Yeah. And so you
so,
took another page.
I turned another page. I did.
I love that. Okay, so what we're going to do right now, we're going to go to our first break to our sponsors, and we'll be right back. We'll be right back after a word from some of our sponsors.
Straightforward is brought to you by State Senator Ed Harbison, serving the citizens of Georgia's 15th Senatorial District and on the front lines for veterans every day. Progressive Funeral Home, family owned and operated since 1952. The George Ford legacy of high standards continues today in the compassionate and professional services provided. A touch of dignity for those who care. Progressive Funeral Home, 4235 St. Mary's Road. Trusted by generations. Whole Patient Healthcare. Dr. Jada Rimes-Bacote is board certified in family medicine. She believes the best patient care includes practical, individualized lifestyle changes. Located at 1338 13th Avenue, Columbus, 706-641-2080, or visit wholepatienthealthcare.com.
And welcome back to Straightforward. I am really enjoying this visit with our lovely Chief Deputy Coroner, Elizabeth Allison. And I just had to tell her on a sidebar, my vision of her before I ever saw you on TV, before we met, was that of Mrs. Olsen in my mind. Nellie's mother on Little House, because the glamour, I'm sure when you show up at locations and you get out, people are like, wow, because that's the kind of light that you're bringing. So I'm very proud of that. I have to give Buddy credit. Not only are you beautiful, but you're brilliant. And you're a trailblazer, and I like that. I do like that.
Thank you.
So your husband saw you at the emergency room.
Yes.
And he's
a firefighter.
He's a firefighter. So this was kind of like destined.
I think so. I think I believe God brings people together for a reason, not for a season. So
right. Yeah. And so because of the path that you were going on, we didn't know at that time that you were going to end up in this role.
Nope.
But it really worked out well because you all share that work environment in common.
Yes.
And so when you go home, it's very helpful.
It is.
It is. And so how long before you got married? You were dating this fabulous firefighter. Was he one of those calendar guys? Some
yes, he is.
Yes, some places They have the firefighters calendar
I
that
know.
they use as a fundraiser.
Yeah.
And actually, my great nephew is a firefighter in Atlanta. And so I know what that looks like. They're working out and, you know, all of that. So you all dated, got married.
We did. We dated for 2 years and we got married on the anniversary of our first date,
How about
which
that?
is March 5th. So we're getting ready to celebrate a anniversary.
Okay. All right. That's good. And so you all got married. He's a firefighter. And so he's out and seeing all the things. And then when you decided to come work for Buddy, how did all of that happen?
I was working in the hospital
Mm-hmm.
and I had known Buddy for years.
Great.
And
guy.
he never had a spot, and I
Mhm.
said, do you? And he's like, I don't have one, but, you know, when I do, I'll let you know. And
Right.
so I actually talked to him, and he said, I do have a spot available. I said, oh, you do?
Wow.
Right?
Right.
And I was really excited, but he said, it's driving, a forensic driver. And I said,
So
that's fine with me.
share with our audience what that is, a forensic driver.
Forensic driver is when you have a homicide
Mhm.
or a suicide that's eventually going to go to the Georgia Bureau of Investigation.
Mm-hmm.
That the decedent will come into our care, and we will take that decedent into our care, and so we pick them up. And
Okay.
the only person that will move the body will be, you know, of course, the coroner that's on call,
Mm-hmm.
and the forensics driver.
Okay.
And so then we take them back to our facility, and then when the Georgia Bureau of Investigation says there is a table available, the forensic driver transports them to Decatur, Georgia.
So that was real work.
Oh,
That
yeah.
that wasn't glamorous.
Oh no, that's manual labor.
I
But
know,
that's
right?
okay.
No, but that's all right. You
Yes.
were willing to come through the door,
Oh,
and that
yes.
was open. It
Yes.
wasn't administrative where you
No.
could just sit at the desk and answer the
No,
phone,
no, no.
which all that's important too, because we need somebody on the
Yes.
phones as well.
Yes.
So you really took a tough role
I did.
to get to where you are.
But no job is a disgrace.
No, it's honest living.
That's right.
It is.
And I love manual labor.
And,
I'm
but
not
you
afraid of it.
earned your place on the team. That's what I want to emphasize to people. You have to earn your place.
Yeah.
You know, it's just not given. When it's given, I don't think people really appreciate it. So you were the forensic driver.
Yes,
So
ma'am.
you were on location helping to receive the
Decedent.
decedents. I want to make sure we're saying the
Yeah.
right thing. As you all, as well as Buddy, you all are very careful about being respectful to families
Oh,
and all
yes.
that. See, I watch you all with what you do. And I really admire that, because to be able to manage people in crises and those situations, it take a lot. It really does.
It does.
And you all put in extra care. And so you were receiving the people and driving them to Atlanta.
Mm-hmm.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
And how long did you do that?
A couple months.
Really?
Yes. And I think maybe it was my boss's way, and I'm sorry if I say this, maybe it was his way of testing me.
To
See
see
how
how-
tough I was.
Exactly.
You know.
Right.
But-
See if you can handle it.
Yes.
But that
yes.
was wisdom.
Yes, it
Right.
was.
Because a lot of times people have this idea of what they think they want to do. And when they get to the job, it's not really what they thought it was.
That's right.
So he was giving you some practical experience.
He was.
He was.
And I appreciate that.
Right. So that just made you better.
Mm-hmm.
So that means that you saw every step.
Oh, yeah.
Right. Okay, so then how did we move from being the forensic driver?
One day I was in the office, and I think I was helping our executive secretary at the time doing something, and Buddy was here in his office, and he called me in,
Mhm.
and he said, have you ever thought about going to be a deputy coroner? And I said, no. You know,
You hadn't thought about it.
hadn't thought about it, because I was fine.
You was just happy to be
I was
on
happy.
the team.
Yes.
Right? You've been waiting to get on
Yes,
the team.
girl, I
Right.
was elated. Okay. Hallelujah. Praise
Yes,
God. I
yeah.
was glad to be here, you
Right.
know. And so he said, well, I'm going to send you. And I mean, the tears welled up in my eyes, and I just wanted to hug him to pieces, you know,
Right.
that he thought that much of
He
me.
believed in
And
you.
he believed in me. That
Right.
was very humbling, you know.
And so your executive assistant,
hmm
is that Miss Malika?
It is.
Oh,
It
Miss
is.
Malika. I know Miss Malika gets tired of me because I just call up down here like I'm supposed to be, like I'm on the team. And she said, well, you can call us anytime, Gloria. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, she's frontline.
She is. She's
She
amazing.
is on it. She is very professional. I mean, she is.
She is like the motor to our clock.
Right.
She keeps us going.
Mhm. and all of the books and
Yes.
files
Yes.
and things near her desk. Because remember, I took this field trip when I came with Buddy, and it's like, what is all this? He said, oh no, she has to work through all of that
Oh,
with
yeah.
cases and all of that. So I wanted to share that because I don't think our community understand what goes on behind the
Oh,
scenes.
yeah. There's a lot.
It's not just you all receiving the person
No.
after they have passed away.
No.
It's a whole lot of other moving parts
It is.
in the background.
It is.
And so that's important that you have enough team members, but then the right team members.
Exactly.
Right. So Miss Malika is not one, well, that's not my job.
Oh,
She's
no.
going to be all in.
Oh, she is.
Right. Because I know that because I've worried her before.
Yeah.
But she told me it was okay. Worry her whenever I get ready to. Okay. And so you went to, where was your training?
I went to Georgia Public Safety Training Center in Forsyth, Georgia,
Okay.
and I did my training for the week. And then when you come back, you have to shadow under each deputy coroner and coroner for so many hours and have so many cases.
Mm-hmm.
And I did that until it was time for me to be released on my own.
Really?
So, yeah.
So that meant all times of day and night.
Oh, yes.
Whenever they
24/7.
called. So it wasn't like, well, this is not my shift, this is
No.
not my time. You had to jump in
Yeah.
on every case
Mhm.
that where you could shadow.
Yes, and I actually started PRN. At that time, I didn't have a full-time position because
Right.
council hadn't agreed to a full-time position at that
Mhm.
time. And so I worked part-time on call. And
Really?
there's
That's
time-
at any moment.
That's at any time,
Mm-hmm.
you know. And at that time, you know, we got paid per case, you know.
Per
'cause
case?
Per case that we'd go on, yeah.
Oh, Lord,
because,
I'm glad you had a husband.
you know, once I got released,
Right.
you know, once I
No,
got
but I
released,
know, but
yeah.
per case,
Yeah.
it takes a lot to be able
Yeah.
to do that. 'cause
But
you
it
still
wasn't
have-
about the money.
I know, you were
know?
you were for
Yeah.
the mission and
Yes.
the position and,
And the
something
people.
and the people that you
Yes.
sought. That's the mission.
Yes.
Right, but you were willing to make the financial sacrifice
Oh, yes.
on the front end.
Yes.
And that's what I try to tell the young people. Everything is not always about the
No,
money.
it's not.
You know, you can get something that's greater. You might get $500 one time, but you might get 50 million in experience.
Exactly.
You know, and we can't put a price tag on
No, you
that.
can't.
Right. Okay, so what we're going to do now, go to our final break, and we'll be right back. We'll be right back after word from some of our sponsors.
David Benefield at the historic Highland Hall, florist extraordinaire, making dreams come true for all occasions. Visit David and his team today at 1504 17th Street or call 706-324-4881, where happiness blooms. Barbara's Cleaning Service, a 5-star commercial service with satisfied customers in Georgia and South Carolina, built on the principle that every detail matters. Barbara's Cleaning Service, a new season building a family legacy. The Columbus Memory Center, 7196 North Lake Drive, Suite A, Columbus. Dr. Jonathan Liss is a board-certified neurologist and sleep specialist committed to battling Alzheimer's by preserving independence, offering you the opportunity to get your memory number for free, the only vital sign for brain health. Call today at 706-327-4000 or visit columbusmemorycenter.com.
And welcome back to Straightforward. I'm enjoying this lovely visit with our beautiful and brilliant Chief Deputy Coroner, Elizabeth Allison. And you just bring so much energy, excitement to this type of role. Because in my mind, and we all have these preconceived ideas, you know, I'm thinking, okay, this is going to be some depressed, bitter, angry, Mrs. Olsen type of personality, and then you just stepped out the car and it was just a ray of sunshine. It really was. So I know when you show up and families see you, they're surprised, as I said earlier in the show. So you received an award.
I did.
So we need to brag about that.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, when people recognize your hard work. I think that's so important.
Yeah.
So what award did you receive?
I received the Coroner of the Year Child Fatality Review Award. Yes.
And who recommended you for that?
That was Muscogee County DA's office. All the lovely ladies over there.
Right. And
Yes.
so that's Shelley Hall and all of her group.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And they do great work,
They
and
do.
I've had them on the show for many years. And
They
so
do.
that's very important work. And oftentimes when we're doing these thankless jobs that you'll never get rich, it's for the common good, folks kind of don't recognize the people that's really putting in the blood, sweat, and tears. Because this is a 24/7.
It is.
365 days.
It is.
Right? And so how does that work with your husband? Because he's a firefighter. Sometimes you all are like ships passing in the night,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
But he understood what the
He does.
mission was.
He does.
Going in.
He does.
Right.
Just like I understand his mission, if they were to have a fire that was uncontrolled, they could call them in even if he's off at any time to help. So,
Okay.
yeah, that's just.
So you all are walking around with 1 or 2 phones each. You got like 2. He has 2.
He has one, I have 2. Yeah.
Right. And so you're one of those couples where we see out in the restaurant where all these phones are on the table.
Yes.
But because you're doing important work.
Yes.
Right. Okay. So your first big case
Uh-huh.
that you did by yourself,
Uh-huh.
that was here in Columbus.
It was.
Okay. And so how did you, when you first got there, because I'm an old social worker, so when you got that big first thing by yourself, it's like, but I got this.
I did.
Mm-hmm.
And it was, unfortunately, it was a homicide.
Okay.
It was. And to this day, I'm still very close with the decedent's mother.
Really?
Yes. Like I said before, I don't come into your life for a season. It's for a reason.
Right.
So, and she and I have done, we've done things like domestic violence stuff. We've done that. We've gotten together and we do things for that.
Really?
Yes. Yes.
Right. And so
Yes.
you were able
All
to.
of my families that I've got a lot of families that I'm still close to.
Mhm.
We reach out, we touch each other, talk to each other on the phone, see how everything's
So
doing.
it's just not, I had that experience,
No.
move to next case, next
Never,
case.
never.
You build relationships
Exactly.
with your family.
Exactly.
Right. And they see you as a part of the family.
Yes.
Right.
Yes. And I had a great mentor. My
Yes.
boss, Buddy Bryan, is the exact same
He
way.
really is.
They absolutely love him. There's nothing he would not do for a family, and he installs that in us.
Okay. So
Yes.
that's one of his standards.
Exactly.
Right. And what's the thing I like about him is there are no people more important than the
Oh,
others. And he's very clear about that.
no.
And whether they're the folks that have the haves or the have-nots,
Mhm.
he treats everybody. He said these are their loved ones and
Yes.
they're concerned about that.
Yeah.
And then a sidebar you and I were talking about, it's never too soon to get life insurance
Oh, no.
for your children.
Exactly.
We need
Exactly.
to
And
teach
for
that.
yourself.
And for yourself.
Yes.
But even sometimes parents think, well, they're young, I have time. But
Yes.
you don't know that.
No.
Because it could be sickness, we have sick children,
Oh, yes.
or it can be a tragedy.
Exactly. And I've
Exactly.
had that happen.
Right.
I've had that happen to a young couple, yes.
Really?
Yes. And after that happened, they had 2 other children, and they did go ahead and seek insurance.
Right. Because the pre-needs, you said
Exactly.
you. And,
Pre-needs, pre-needs are very important.
right.
It is.
And you have your own.
I didn't want to do it,
Mhm.
I did not want to do it, but again, I didn't want to leave my loved one. I know what a traumatic event it is for some people,
Mhm.
so I didn't want to leave that to my husband to do.
Right.
So.
Because when that happens, whether the person is sick or it's, a tragedy or unexpected,
Mhm.
people have heart attacks and die. You
Yes.
know that. It can happen.
Yes.
Your family can't really think
No, they can't.
because it's like walking through a fog. I've been there before.
Yeah, I have too.
And it's like you can't think, even though you know where all the files are, and people have had the wills and, and all of that, but still,
Yes.
we want to encourage that.
I want to encourage that, and I want to encourage people to make a beneficiary, get
Mhm.
a will. Get a will.
Right.
People write it down, even if you write it down on paper.
Right,
What your wishes are.
Mhm.
It's very, very important.
right, because in the time of the tragedy or whatever the loss, it's just not a good time to try to figure all of that
No,
out.
it
It needs to
isn't.
be done in advance.
Yes.
Well, tell people how they can find you. Are you available to go speak to the community?
I'm available. All you gotta do is call. I'll be
Okay.
right there. Yes.
Okay.
I do talk at high schools. Sometimes I do talk
Okay.
at high schools.
All right.
Yes.
And so we need to get you out to women's groups too.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, we do. I know you do a lot with Shelley Hall and her team, but all of us,
Yes.
nobody is exempt. Everybody's family can be touched
Exactly.
by whatever the tragedy is. And so we just need to be proactive
Yes.
and be informed.
Yes.
Okay, so tell people how they can find you and
Well, they can call Muscogee County Coroner's Office,
Okay.
and our beautiful Malika will get in contact with me, and I will return a telephone call just like she did with you.
Yes,
So,
but you know, I have no.
I was shocked. I said, "What? Are you
Yeah.
kidding me?" When I texted her back, I said, "Are you sure you got the right person?" She
Yeah.
said, "Yes."
Yes,
So
yes.
I was very humbled.
Well,
Thank you very much.
Well, no, thank you for agreeing to do this. Of course, you work all the time, 24/7, and of course, your husband over with the fire department, and we thank both of you because it's a personal sacrifice. Being married and trying to maintain your home and your own personal life, and being willing to do these thankless jobs because you're not going to get rich doing this.
Oh no.
We have to get a lottery ticket, but these are very important jobs. And I just want to thank you for making the personal sacrifice. I want to thank your boss, who I love. He's one of my favorite people, Miss Malika, and your team. I want y'all to continue in the manner in which you're serving families. Yeah, I really admire that. And I know some families that you serve from my old community. And they always say, you know, Mr. Buddy is really nice. So he has trained you all to do that.
Oh yeah. I hug my families.
Absolutely.
I sure do.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much, and we will visit again,
Yes.
and I hope to see you out on the circuit.
Yes.
Okay, let's do it.
Yes.
All right. This has been straightforward. If you don't stand for something, you will fall for anything. Until next time, be blessed.
What up, world? What's up, Columbus? Be sure to tune in every Sunday, Straightforward with Gloria Strode, right here on NBC 38.